I was diagnosed at 65.
37, earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Hey, and we are the Coalition Loud and Proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media. We are here at 63 Maud Street at Caresses. It's a beautiful location for folks like me desperately in need of an intervention. Please come here because, all kidding aside, local business means local community. It's so important that we move beyond just talking about support local business and actually doing it. Again, beautiful location, and I thank her for giving me an opportunity to film inside. I'm here with Niyoka Powell. She is the Republican nominee for Senate District 1 in a special election. Possibly the most important election this year in the state of Rhode Island. And why I say that is because a lot of attention is being paid to Congressional District 1, that special election. Quite frankly, I will tell you that local elections, state and city level elections, will impact your life as a Rhode Islander exponentially more than any of the national elections. Niyoka, you've been out working it today. You crisscrossed Senate District 1 now for months. What type of reception are you getting today? And as importantly, what type of concerns are being reflected to you as a candidate?
I'm getting very good feedback from the community and the same concerns that I've been hearing regardless of which part of the district I'm in. The primary focus on education, public safety, and healthcare. Businesses, small businesses, it's all the same. We need to do better, we need to be better, and we need to support these businesses and the families that are affected by these things. So for example, with education, a lot of people are looking for that choice. We're looking for school choice. We're looking for the ability for our children to have a better stance on what's going on right now. The state as a whole, the city, the RICAS scores don't reflect what the parents want, and so giving them a chance, an opportunity to provide better for their children and getting involved in these schools of their choice would help them exponentially. Same thing with small businesses. We need to make sure that we're promoting and facilitating the funds that help these small businesses to thrive. And in terms of healthcare, we just spoke with someone over at the Elmhurst Rehabilitation Center visiting their family member. And they were saying, you know, the people here are stressed, the staff is stressed, and we need to do better for healthcare.
Broadcast scores were released about a week or so ago. A lot of folks pointed to an increase, what some would say is a relatively moderate increase in scores, as this sort of hallelujah moment. Is there a hallelujah moment taking place right now in Rhode Island education from your perspective, if you will, citizens' results?
Well, first off, I'd love to say, you know, my appreciation and hats off to the teachers who have stuck through it all. When I went to the school board meeting a couple weeks ago, it was evident that the teachers do need our support. It was evident that as a community, we need to be patient with them. But at the same time, we need to give them the respite that they require, which is lessen the burden on the teachers by giving the parents a choice of where they can fund the education for their students and for their children. So, you know, when it came to the RICAS scores, it was not something to celebrate because it was less than COVID, less than pre-COVID standards that we were getting from our Providence public schools. And if you looked at how the charter schools did in the city or even in the state of Rhode Island, they outshined the public school by a long shot. So, you know, we can't really blame it on COVID. We can't really blame it on, you know, the students not paying attention. It's about where the parents are investing and where the students are actually feeling like they have the support they require to excel.
So many folks in the political establishment, the political elite, point out accurately that your zip code should not dictate your educational path, your educational future. So why does your zip code still determine your educational path and your educational future? Why?
You know, it's because parents don't have a choice. I mean, they don't want to hear me say this. The other side does not want to hear me say this because they fight about the funds being taken out of public schools and not funding public schools and funding private schools instead. I can tell you and I can attest to the fact that yes, my child is in a private school and I fought tooth and nail to get her there because Providence was not performing to my standards as a parent. And that being said, the amount of money that we're getting through federal funding or even taxes to send a child to school in Providence is well over $17,000, which would equate to 3 years of my child going to a private school. So they wouldn't be losing much money with the $17,000, $18,000 that they'd be giving me into a 529 plan to pay for her education to begin with. So to say that it's a far cry of taking money out of the system, that is grossly incorrect.
And yet at the same time, across the nation, there are examples of large, diverse, multicultural, a variety of economic level school districts that are employing exactly that result.
Correct.
Is the purpose of an educational system to drive the infrastructure and the costs and the administration of the educational system, or is it to teach children?
If you were asking me that question, it's supposed to be to teach children. It's not supposed to be the bottom line of someone's salary or someone's bonus. It's supposed to be a genuine care for the next generation to make sure that they do well enough better than we are, to provide them with the best foot forward. And that's where equality comes in, is everybody's getting the same amount of education, they're getting the choice from their parents based on their children's interests, and they're able to succeed in that way. To put kids in a system that's clearly falling apart, and I have called for Infante Green to resign, and I've even put that in a press release because I feel strongly that a lot of the powers need to go back to the school board and the parents themselves so that they can make the decisions about where their children go for school.
Ultimately, we've got a school administration in this state, because it is a statewide administration, that's focusing on the construction of new buildings.
Correct.
But as desperately challenged as many of the current buildings are, is that the only issue in education here in the state?
Well, I think the major issue in the city of Providence is the curriculum itself. Mm-hmm. We can't model ourselves after Massachusetts and Connecticut if we're not providing the curriculum that is comparable to what our students here are able to accomplish. And if we're not giving them the platform to do so, then we're pretty much putting lipstick on a pig by building a new state-of-the-art 21st century building.
Small businesses.
Yes.
This is a neighborhood of small businesses to really an astonishing level. I mean, I live out in the burbs, and small business is not only important economically, but really they speak to the soul of the community. Yeah. Talk about the diversity of small businesses in District 1.
Oh gosh. District 1, in different parts of it, caters specifically to the college students because we have Providence College right across the street from us. We have a lot of businesses that have been here for generations that are beauty salons that cater to a niche population. I actually asked one of the owners of one of the salons down the street from here about their business, and they said, no, we strictly work with white hair because there's not really a struggle, there's not really a need to know about the different products and the different hair types. So they don't even do people of color's hair or black hair or even Hispanic hair. They're not fluent in that, so they stick specifically to white hair. So to have a salon like this one here is, really up and coming for this district, or at least this side of town, because now we have an ethnic salon that can cater to my type of hair.
Right. And there's been some pretty provocative documentaries about, what the concerns are surrounding women from the BIPOC community, their hair, and the ability to support that and how that reflects not just restaurants, but how that ultimately reflects on the livability of a neighborhood that is so diverse. Is it fair to argue that Senate District 1 may be amongst the most diverse in the state?
It is one of the most diverse in this. Yes, I would have to say that because, right next to this salon, you have an Irish pub, and across the street, you have your Newport Creamery. If you go over to Charles Street, you have Turkish places and restaurants. You have Middle Eastern restaurants. It's a plethora. You have the Burrito Bowl right down the street from there. So we have a lot of different foods, a lot lot of different, Peruvian is right down the street. So it's a lot of, this is what America is. It's the melting pot, and Senate District 1 definitely showcases the melting pot.
And in the few minutes we have left, let's speak to your personal journey as a very young woman moving to this district. Your educational background, everything you've been able to accomplish as a leader in the community, and your investment, your lifelong investment in Senate District 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in Providence for 18 years. I've helped many different mayors in launching programs throughout the city. I was there for the Independence Walk with Tavares. I was there for the energy initiatives. I was there for Millennial RI. I was there with, New Bridges for Haitian Success. I find that a community that works together works best and understands its people. And when that gets in misalignment, that's when we have a lot of the chaos and people are trying to get to the top. So I find it works better when people actually think about the basics when chaos stirs, because when you leave the basics behind, such as the children, they are the basic form of where we are right now. If we start thinking more about the children and less about ourselves, I think we'd be able to progress out of this recession and be able to function better as a society.
This is your home. This is not
my home.
Not a stepping stone
No.
to a pre-planned
No.
political ascendancy, is it?
No. I'm a nurse. I want to be a nurse. I love to be a nurse. But when I see something that is not healthy for the community, I can't just sit there and say nothing. I literally said to myself at the beginning of the pandemic, when I was going back and forth to Block Island with the Rhode Island Disaster Medical Team to test the entire island of Block Island and go over there for free. I was not paid. This was a volunteer thing. Every other weekend and every other Tuesdays and Thursdays, on my own time with a little one, still working, I find that, you have to invest in your community. You have to invest in your state. And this isn't about who's going to get the upper hand or who's going to get the lesser hand. You do things because of the kindness of your heart and that you want to see people progress as a whole. Whether you're the one progressing or not, we still have work to do.
Where can folks find you on the internet?
Sure, you can find me at powellrisenate.com. I'm also on social medias at Niyoka RI on Twitter or X, and same for Instagram. And I do respond to my emails.
How important is it, and this seems obvious, it's almost cliche,
Yeah.
but how important is it that people take a stake in their community by voting on Tuesday?
Oh, very important, because, we need to make sure that people are aware that there are ward meetings, committee meetings with their city councilors. We need to make sure that people are aware of the different stepping stones that go into the actual government of our city. And if we're not able to participate in those things, then we're definitely doing ourselves a disservice by not knowing what's happening around us. Because one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what happened to the 5 businesses I used to go to?
And then by then it really is too late, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's cost of living. Things are changing around us so fast that, your rent could go up tomorrow and you'll be homeless in 2 seconds. So we got to be more informed as a community, and we can't just sit here and blame everybody when we're not taking on the challenge of taking part in the system.
And it is so fragile at this moment. Businesses are challenged as they've never been before. Alternatives to education literally exist on a year-by-year basis, continuing to do work, in many cases at a near volunteer level, to provide children in this community in Senate District 1. So it really is a call to action, isn't it?
There is. There's a call for everyone to participate in their political forums. Show up at the State House, show up at City Council. The meetings are open for you to come and join us and talk what you need to talk. You can have that public appearance in front of all your senators and your representatives and the City Council. So, make your voice heard. Regardless of what happens on Tuesday, I pray that everybody takes up that initiative and get involved.
Excellent. Niyoka Powell, she is the Republican candidate, nominee, if you will, for the special election for Senate District 1. Formal in-person voting takes place this Tuesday. It's the place to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it.